Welcome to Life Aligned Leadership, the podcast where we prioritize what matters and execute with confidence. Each episode delivers quick, practical insights to help you lead more effectively and take a stress-reducing moment for yourself. Our mission? To help you become an uncommon leader of your work and life. So let's take a deep breath. And rock on. Hello and welcome to the Life Aligned Leadership Podcast. My name is Julie Quinne. I am your Uncommon Leadership Strategist. I am the owner of Uncommon Consulting and the creator of the Life Aligned Leadership Framework, which this podcast is about. And for this first episode, I would like to start with one of our main components of this podcast, which is a moment of stress relief for you. So the first thing we're going to do is just invite you to take a nice deep breath through your nose. Fill that tummy up way down in the abdomen, opening up your rib cage to let all that nice air in. And then exhaling through the mouth. Give your shoulders a little roll back, maybe a little roll forward. Enjoy that little self-massage there. And know that just doing that from a neuropsychological standpoint has just kind of reset your nervous system to be open to the next thing you're going to do. And if the next thing you're going to do is listen to this episode 1 of the Life Aligned Leadership Podcast, then we are in this together. So welcome. For this episode, what I'd like to do is just introduce you to what the Life Aligned Leadership Framework is from a personal leadership standpoint. So there's lots of ways to use this framework, one of which is for your personal self, another of which is for your team or your department or your organization. But we're going to focus on you, the leader, the person who is trying to juggle conflicting priorities, get unstuck when you feel super overwhelmed, to kind of release that I know I can do this, but there's so much in my way kind of energy, and move it into really practical forward moving motion and progress. That's what we're here for in this podcast. We're here for you to be the best, most uncommon leader that you can be. So what is life-aligned leadership? You can actually learn more about this on the YouTube channel at Life Aligned Leadership, and you'll be able to see the model beyond just the audio in this podcast. So I invite you to visit that and check that out so that you can get the full benefit of what the model looks like. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is just kind of take you through a little bit of a guided meditation on to introduce you to this framework. So no matter where you are, if you're sitting, feel your sit bones in your seat, feel your feet flat against the floor, kind of ground yourself, take a nice another deep breath in. And exhale out and roll those shoulders, and just get ready to be taken kind of for a little mind ride through the framework and what it can do for you. If you are driving a car right now, you might want to wait until later to listen to the rest of this particular one, or pull over on the side and take a moment to experience it. We won't be going deep into a meditation. I'm just going to kind of have you imagine what it might feel like to put this in practice in your own life. All right. So first, I'd like you to imagine that instead of the energy you feel right now, which might be sluggish or tense or confused or chaotic, I want you to envision positive, forward-moving, energized energy, feeling like you're clear and focused and have the oomph and the gumption to move forward. Just feel what that feels like. Maybe a clearer head and deeper breaths and a rested body, a rested mind. All right. And now with that energy, we're going to build on that core. And I'm going to invite you to experience in your imagination here the balance that you are craving. And I don't mean just, spending enough time at home versus time at work. What I mean by balanced is every day being certain that you are balancing what is most important day to day, that you have a way that you can rely on, a tool that reliably serves up to you what is most important and what kind of time you are spending on it or could spend on those things that are important and what needs to be put aside confidently, right? So that you can have that balance without wondering, am I spending my time on the right stuff? All right, we've got energy, we've got balance, and of course, we can probably be pretty good at that when we're on our own and in control of our own calendar. But what happens is other people get into our life, right? And they've got needs and expectations and emergencies and assignments and fill in the blank, right? So I'd like to invite you to imagine that you have a greater skill set to influence the people in your life and influence the impact they have on your life. This is about setting boundaries. It's about understanding what you will and won't and can and can't do for others in the time that you have. It's about having the right words and language and approach to have those conversations with people, so that you can maintain that balance we talked about and so that you can maintain that energy that we've talked about. All right, you have energy, you have balance, you have influence. Now we're going to move to the next level of the framework, which is confidence. Think about all the time we spend worrying about whether I can say this, whether I should have said that. How am I going to say this? Do I have the right to say this? Am I qualified to say this or do this, right? All of those, nattering little voices in our heads that say we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not experienced enough, we don't know what we're talking about. We're going to quiet those nattering little voices and we're going to put in place some, again, reliable tools that you can touch upon in the moment that will give you the confidence that you need to implement those influence strategies and see your way to what we're going to talk about next, where you're headed. So confidence is that next level. And I'd like you to just imagine, what would it feel like at this point to have the energy to move forward where you want to go, the balance to know that you're spending the right time at the right places, the influence to engage others in your life in a way that doesn't compromise your forward motion, and the confidence to say the things you need to say and do the things you want to do. All right, and why would we need all of this? Well, because we have a vision for who we are and who we want to be. We have a vision of what our life could look like or should look like or would look like if we could get out of our own way. So this is focus. Imagine that you had the clarity, the crystal clarity to focus on your definition of success. What does it look like to be successful? And what specifically do you need to do or say or have in place in order to achieve that vision that you have for your life, for your work, for your leadership practice? So focus. Imagine that you had that clarity, that focus on where you're headed and what specifically it takes to get there. And then finally, if you're keeping track, there are 6 layers to the framework. The final layer, the outside layer, is fulfillment. Imagine that you felt fulfilled on a daily basis, fulfilled in the knowledge that you have moved forward in your pursuit of your vision, that day to day you are incorporating in your very busy schedule the things that matter most to you. So you have energy, you have balance, you have influence, you have confidence, you've got focus and fulfillment. That is what the Life Aligned Leadership Framework gives you as a leader. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this podcast. So if you've just gone through a little meditative experience there, you can kind of, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, shake your arms out, roll your shoulders back, and come back to the room that you're in. And if you were just driving along listening to us, I hope you got some meditative value out of that while also being safe on the road. This is what this podcast is about. It's giving you a moment, a snack-sized encouragement, inspiration, practical tool that you can use day to day to stay clear about where you're headed and get what you need to keep that forward motion toward that vision. I am so excited to launch this podcast and be here with you. The next episode will focus on the structure of this podcast and what you can expect week to week. And until then, thank you for tuning in to this first episode. Be uncommon. A great next step is to join the Uncommon community, a place to connect live in community with other uncommon leaders for real-time guidance, support, and camaraderie. Click the URL in the show notes. Until next time, be uncommon.